Shall we begin?
My name is Robert J. I'm here at Trinity Western University in British Columbia, Canada. Last year, this university was embroiled in a controversy that landed it before the Supreme Court of Canada. Gay rights activists took issue with the Code of Conduct policy that prohibits anybody from having sexual relations outside of marriage, marriage being between one man and one woman. The Supreme Court of Canada upheld the rights of gays by restricting the religious rights of this private institution. Take 5. Tonight, 2 professors are taking a very different tact on another very old controversy, evolution and creation. These 2 scholars are trying to bridge an all too often bitter divide by modeling community and understanding in the face of diverse views. Dr. Falk is a theistic evolutionist who believes that the universe is approximately 13.6 billion years old. He has a bachelor's degree in biology and received his PhD from the University of Alberta. Dr. Wood is a young Earth creationist who believes that the Earth is approximately 6,000 years old. He has a bachelor's degree in biology and holds a PhD from the University of Virginia. Despite their opposing views, Dr. Wood and Dr. Falk have collaborated on a new book. These professors may be scientifically divided, but they're ideologically united. They both believe that God is at the genesis of creation. What they can't agree on is just how he did it. Tonight they're going to be defending their polarizing and controversial positions among the Christian faith. Some say if you think the earth is only 6,000 years old, then you're an uneducated idiot. While others say if you think God had anything to do with evolution, then you're a heretic. Hence the title for their new book, The Fool and the Heretic. I'm here with Dr. Wood and Dr. Falk to talk about their new book, The Fool and the Heretic. Thank you, professors, for taking time to speak with me. Dr. Wood, you hold to a universe that's approximately 6,000 years old, while Dr. Falk, you hold to one that's closer to 13.6 billion. How did this book come together, and why did you collaborate on it?
Well, so it came together through the persistence of the Colossian Forum, which is another organization that we have been involved with, and their vision for trying to get Christians to think more deeply about conflict and find opportunities for discipleship in the midst of conflict. So why did we write the book? Why did we write the book? Why did you write the book?
So we've been together for 6 years, and having various meetings, both in terms of private meetings together, but then also in various universities, Christian universities, schools, and sometimes churches, other forums. And so we have had these discussions, and we felt that it was important that there be more than just that which happened within a small group. It seemed to us seemed to me anyways, I think maybe Todd might agree, that what has happened in terms of our conversations, despite the fact that we think so very differently, that there's an important message to the Christian church in this about how to have a conversation when individuals think differently, and how to and what it means to be a Christian functioning in a situation which is to both of us extremely important, but we have such diabolically different views.
So focusing on the common ground rather than the divisive ground.
As we try to understand each other as well, and as we try to present address issues of misconceptions that exist within the church.
What was the greatest challenge over those 6 years of getting this book together? It sounds like it took a bit of time to get it finalized. Was there challenges?
Yeah. Challenges, just getting it started was a challenge, trying to decide if we wanted to devote the considerable effort we knew it would take to get the book done. That was a pretty significant challenge. And then for me, my own personal challenge writing it was just this immense pressure, feeling like I was going to have access to a whole audience that I would not normally get. And was going to be the representative of young age creationism for a host of people who know very little about us. And I wanted to just be the most perfect, amazing, astonishing representative that I could be, write something so breathtakingly awesome that everyone would convert to my team. And so there was a point at which I sort of had to decide, well, that's impossible. I can't do that. I'm just going to have to do the best I can and trust the Lord to make up the difference. So that was for me just the enormous difficulty of having to figure out how to do this really well.
Yeah, and from my perspective, the part of it was format. How ought we write a book like this? What it would look like? And so we had some wonderful guidance on this from Lynn Kreiderman, who helped us a great deal. He's a former publisher of Zondervan. And then also Colossian Forum, specifically Rob Barrett, who is the moderator throughout the book. So the way in which it's been set up is a conversation, in a sense, with a moderator who is looking at and who guides us into the various key issues, and then looks at Todd, asks questions, and Todd gets to write a little section from his perspective, and I write a little section from my perspective, and the moderator, Rob Barrett, summarizes that, and then goes on to ask another question, and each of us address it from our perspective. It's actually been a lot of fun. We were always friends.
Some books can end friendships. Some books can end friendships.
That's true. But no, this wasn't that bad. After we had one big meeting where we got together to discuss the format, and I do remember. I remember some initial interest in just having us write the book, and in our own two voices. And I said, no, the third voice in the room is really important, and that voice of the person sort of detached, looking in on the conflict and sort of asking the probing questions, that was something very important to both of us, I think. And once we sort of figured out what that structure was, and then I remember Lynn sitting up at one point and saying, okay, here's the title. I thought, all right. And he just said, I think the first incarnation was something about the idiot and the heretic or something like that. Yeah. And then we went through various permutations as we tried to figure out, should we use sinner instead of heretic? Is heretic too harsh? Is idiot too harsh? So we sort of settled on fool and the heretic. I think that worked out all right. So. Yeah. But once we had that, and then after the title discussion, it was, here's the outline. And so then we both said, yeah, I think that'll work. And then it came together rather, it still took about 2 years, right? It was quite a challenge, even though we knew what we wanted to say.
Dr. Falk, is there a positive message you'd like to convey to colleagues and lay people who are bitterly divided over science and faith issues?
Actually, the experience that we have had is an experience that is significant, I think, for more than just the science and Christian faith issue. I think it's a message that relates to the Christian life in general and how we ought to engage individuals who think differently, how we ought to be engaged with individuals who think differently. That to me is that general message is in Christ, when we think differently, we have a responsibility to engage each other in love. And for me, the great experience about this is, even though Todd and I think very differently about this particular issue, and we can talk fairly frankly about our differences and why we feel so strongly that our views are important, we can also do so and must do so in the context of individuals who love and respect each other on that which is most important of all, and that is our relationship with Christ and what it means to be followers of Christ, and respect each other in that context. So this has been a great experience from that perspective of being co-followers of Christ who think differently about a particular matter.
And Dr. Wood, you?
I think the positive message from this is a little bit mysterious to me. I've been a Christian long enough to recognize when the Lord is at work and when the Lord is moving. And I can see that in this situation. What I don't quite know is what exactly is happening, what's going on here. And I certainly think I would agree with Darrel that there is a certain level of civil dialogue and civil discourse that's missing. And beyond that, though, even as Christians, we have a responsibility to be loving and kind and humble towards each other. But I think beyond that, God has something for us both here, and I'm eager to find out what the next step is going to be. Now, as for the book itself, some of it's a hard book. I mean, I can't lie to you. It's a difficult book. It was hard to write, and a lot of my friends have told me that it's a hard one to read, and to look into this sort of disagreement is challenging. But what I'm hoping that we can find is other people who are going to be excited about the possibilities of doing this as well, and maybe joining the conversation that we're having and spreading this around so that God can receive greater glory from His church being divided on opinions but united together in Christ.
Well, thank you, professors, for taking time to speak with us about this new book. And is there somewhere where people can find you online, blogs, websites?
I have a blog. Just Google Todd Wood, you'll find it. Really, the first one that comes up. In addition to Fool the Heretic, Fool the Heretic is available in a bunch of different formats. There's an audio book, MP3 CD, paperback, ebooks. I also have another book called The Quest, Exploring Creation's Hardest Problems. That's brand new as of last fall. And that's available at Amazon exclusively in paperback and ebook for your Kindle.
Okay, thank you very much.
And from my perspective, I'm an advisor for Biologus, former president of Biologus, and there's a website which I highly recommend. Just Google Biologos, BIOLOGOS, and I've got a number of blogs on there from over the years.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
When talking with one of the professors, he told me if I'm expecting one of those typical creation evolution debates tonight, I'm going to be disappointed. Tonight is more about agreeing to disagree and trying to understand the person you disagree with.